Hello and a very warm welcome. I'm Mugdha Kaldra and you're watching Leaders by Nature, a special conversation series powered by Hubtown Seasons, where we explore the relationship between nature and leadership and how residences that provide access to greenery can shape leadership abilities. One of the characteristics of smart leaders is their ability to gather insights and information from anywhere, including nature. From fostering creativity to enhancing mental well-being, the presence of nature empowers them to make informed decisions with clarity and confidence. The abundance of greenery that a residential property like Hubtown Seasons provides can make such spaces not only a worthy investment for leaders, but also a major source of inspiration. To help us understand this connection between nature and leadership and the value that residential spaces with access to greenery provide, we have a very special guest, Mr. Vikas Singh. Vikas is the founder and CEO of Fitpage, a Mumbai-based fitness tech startup. Hailing from a remote village in Uttar Pradesh, Vikas is a first-generation professional and an entrepreneur. He started his career as a security officer with the Reliance Group, but went on to work for Goldman Sachs. After winning the George E. Doughty Scholarship, he completed his MBA from the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business. He also worked with Morgan Stanley and AP Global for over 17 years before launching Fitpage. Welcome, Vikas. Thank you so much for joining us. What a fantastic story, and I'm so humbled and honored to have you here with us.
Thank you for having me.
I want to talk about nature and I want to talk about leadership, as is the subject of our conversation today. But I do want to know how nature has influenced you as a person before coming to how it has influenced your leadership style.
Sure. So I grew up in a village. I grew up playing with soil, which seems like pretty far-fetched dream for most kids today. And I think that has not only helped me grow, but also it has almost become a way that today what I do is because of that. I grew up around nature in the village. As I progress, I moved to different places and I was lucky to be around nature. And today what I do is actually very outdoor. We run a running first, endurance first as a business, which is all about being outdoors. So I feel where I started from is where I am today as well, and that's possibly the most sustainable way of going, isn't it?
If I were to ask you what is that one thing you miss about living in a big city, would you say it's the greens, it's the nature?
It is indeed. I feel if I could just go back and be where almost no one else is there, but you have animals, you have less people, more nature, you have more plants and trees, and you can be around. I think that's what I would like to go back.
Yeah, I think that is the reason why when we are all moving to bigger cities and we are all moving into high rises, a part of us is constantly looking for that green oasis. And I guess that's the reason why we always say that, people in high stress jobs need to see more of greens and blues versus being in concrete jungles. And it is such a dilemma then that, we live in these big cities, but we don't find those patches of green. How do you fill your soul?
Very true. Well, like I said, if nothing else, I know that 5 hours, 6 hours a week, I'm able to be outdoor. That is when I'm running, when I'm working out. 100% of my workouts are outdoors. So I am closer to the sea, I am closer to the trees, as well as the place that we live in. Even from my balcony, I can see the trees. So that's, I think it's a fantastic opportunity for us to be able to have.
Right.
But we have done our smaller bits as we come to workplace as well. We try to keep whatever is possible to make it greener. We have smaller plants. Does not make a lot of difference, but it makes us, if nothing else, it makes us feel a lot more positive. We at times spend time even watering the plants ourselves as employees and team members. I think these are smaller activities, but very inclusive, and they make us feel a little connected to nature, if nothing else.
With that perspective, it becomes so important where you live. If you are living close to nature, even if it is within a concrete jungle, it sort of solves a lot of your problem, because half of the time I am not tempted to walk outdoors because of pollution, because of the traffic. But I do know that, if my apartment complex has a nice walking track and it has the greens, it sort of fixes that need for me. But how important is it for you, both as a leader and for your team as well? Because your product also addresses teams at large.
Yeah.
How important is then physical fitness to be part of the holistic development of corporate teams?
Yeah. And I think it's almost going where we want to go. What it means is, as we grow, we need to start doing certain things that we are able to continue doing something for a long period of time.
Right.
And if we look at our lives, if we very soon start to do something that's in excess, we will either compromise on the quality of it or will not do a few other things. In my opinion, what we need to do is take smaller steps, start early, and include those as part of your daily routines. I feel neither fitness nor productivity at work or anything else that requires for us that contributes to us longevity has to be an additional significant effort. What I mean by these, I feel we need to do certain things that will help us form habits. How do we help form habits? In my opinion, one, you start by seeing what will happen over a long period of time if you do that.
Okay.
That is, if I form a habit of waking up early, I will have more time with me. If I have more time with me, I hope people are not on social media lot of times, then what will they do is they will hopefully get out. If they get out, they're moving a little more. They are productive. They are able to get to work a little early. When they are on time or early at work, they have more time to work. Now that you have worked out in the morning, you have a little more energy throughout the day as well. You are a little more confident as well. And as a result, the waking time that you have at work, you are able to be a little more productive, where you are a little more confident, and then you go back home as well early.
Yeah.
Right? So in my opinion, it has to be that you form these smaller habits that will help you take for a longer period of time.
Because sustainability seems to be the buzzword for businesses, for industries, for the way we live as well. What sustainability is then for you as a person, as a leader, and also as somebody who is in the startup space in the times where sustainability is like a big goal?
Sure. I feel sustainability to start with seems like it is the buzzword, right? It has been this fancy word that we see around SDGs and various other things. But if we look at the word itself, it means that your ability to be able to do something for a long period of time, something that's sustainable, that action will lead to sustainability. And when we think of sustainability in India's term, in India's context, most of us, we have grown either from villages or we are from low middle class and middle class families. We look towards economic sustainability, which is one of the most important pillars of sustainability. We study harder academically, we want to get a job,
right,
and we think now we have started to achieve the economic sustainability. Now what happens is we see there is second part that comes, that is environmental sustainability. That is, whatever we are doing today, can we do it meaningfully, responsibly, so that tomorrow we can continue to do the same thing, right, as well as our future generations, correct? And this is where you will see a number of our initiatives, the buzzword that has been around the environmental sustainability. But before I cover that, I wanted to cover another aspect, that's social sustainability, which in my opinion is very important. That's the human capital. Can we be productive in ways that we can sustain our own life, our good health for a longer period of time?
Right.
And I think that's where we should focus a lot more, because the human capital is the one that will lead to environmental as well as economic sustainability. There's another component actually that I don't see being heard as much, is cultural sustainability. Actually, cultural sustainability should continue to be a great priority as well, right? The art, the culture of who we are, where we came up from, etc.,
Right.
etc., should be preserved over a long period of time. I see 2 generations later, people will not even know and see where I started from,
Yeah.
how the house was, how the hut was, and things like those. So now when I think of the human capital and their growth, this is where we talk about being fitter, this is where we talk about sleeping better, managing our stresses, and have a great, productive, inclusive environment at workplace so that we are able to contribute to the other 2 or 3 pillars of sustainability that we're thinking. And I think here, this is where all of us have our roles to play as individuals, as leaders, as well as contributors positively or negatively to this whole ecosystem, the whole universe where we are. So I'm saying if we just learned one thing, we possibly should learn to be and behave like animals. And I also feel we should not cross our boundaries. What I mean by that is, just because we are humans, just because we have certain powers that other species may not have, does it mean we cross our boundaries? That means we should not encroach. And what do I mean by this is, can I systematically live where I am without encroaching into someone else's space? That means, can I do something by preserving nature around me? Can I have plants and trees? Can I preserve, if I am wasting something, can I do something equivalent? If I can walk somewhere, do I have to take my bike or car? These are smaller bits, for example. I get it that we need to get to work and we need to drive and things like those. And there we need to go there faster for sure. But I don't get it why we need to keep our air conditions on and sit inside for hours waiting for someone or gossiping with someone. I also don't get it when we have to go and buy vegetables, why I have to take my bike or car. Why can I not walk? While infrastructural challenges and everything else is around, but I think if we start by at least adding 1 or 2 things, that helps us. And we try to do that at our workplace. For example, from station, most of our employees, they take the EV Yulu bikes. For example, that's doing their bit. And that's very meaningful. We have a policy where the employees are incentivized depending on how much they move every week. So they have to be moving at minimum of 30 minutes a day for 5 days a week, right? Now what they do is they'll switch on the app and they'll walk to the station nearby when they're going back in the evening.
Right.
These are some of the smaller ways of contributing that we can. And then, of course, in my personal capacity, what I'm trying to do is, I actually, a lot of times do my meetings running if the next person can also run, walking. We do it early mornings, we'll try and go walk around where I live, and at times within the building. And that's where I guess the place where we live becomes so much more important. If you can just come through, if you come down from the elevator and get out of the door and then you have the road, that's not very meaningful. In my opinion, if there is a green space or you have the luxury of being there, I think you should be. If you can take a longer route to get to the entry gate, I think that's a better way to be in.
Yeah, I guess that's the reason why when we talk about the stress levels going high and when we talk about the big jobs that people hold in bigger cities, I think the one thing that when they are investing in the place that they live in is they look for that green oasis that, that can give them some kind of peace. But my question to you is, leadership comes with its own levels of stresses. As a leader, how do you unwind?
I feel as soon as I'm done with work, I want to go back home. And why I want to go back home is because the home feels like home. It's open, it's green. I know during COVID, and even now, when we do, so I used to do long runs and it was not allowed to go outside.
Right.
Fortunately, I had about 350, 400 meter track, not really a track, but at least a paveway that I could run on. And that was meaningful enough that there are days when I had completed 30 kilometers run, just running around the 350 meters, that circular pavement that I had, for example. Another thing is, if you have a residence, a home where you can go back and that's around nature, a lot of things that you are taking from work in form of stress, the impact of that is minimized. Think of it, have you ever felt very stressful if you are among the trees? When you go to jungle, the moment you see this wind,
forget everything.
Right? Why not to make an investment? Why not to think of sustainably going to a place where you feel like it's your home? I want to come back here, and I will figure out next day, yeah, that's okay, right? But let me first be here in nature. If you can afford and if you can be there, I think definitely.
So does the Fitpage app soon going to have a section where it says, have you been to the greens? Have you gone forest bathing? You should have 30 minutes of being with the plants. Have you watered your plants? How many plants that you have? I think that's going to be an interesting section on the app.
Great, and I think we should definitely consider that as a feature. But just so you know, one of the things we cautiously thought and we consciously decided that app will not have indoor tracking. We decided that people have to be outdoor. Only then we will understand and we'll accept what they are doing. So we do only outdoor tracking. That by itself gets you out of the door. So we are trying to do our bit, but these are good ideas for sure.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for spending time with us and telling us about your fitness mantra. And I loved your definition of sustainability as a concept for businesses, but more as part of our lives. Because what we make sustainable right now in terms of our habits, in terms of what we seek from life, is again what will keep our lives sustainable for years. And because we are living in the times of longevity, we need to take care of ourselves. Thank you so much for all the insights.
Indeed, and thank you for having me.
To sum it up, we have uncovered the intimate connection between our home, access to nature, and its influence on leadership and performance at work. Ultimately, our home plays a pivotal role in shaping our professional journey and overall well-being. This is Mugdha Kalra bidding adieu from Hubtown Seasons, one of India's most luxurious living places, where a slice of nature awaits you at every corner. Wishing you all success and good health.